So, who are you and what did you do?
Right, so I am a Bunny Named Verre, and I recently played at the Kongs Genesys Tournament last Thursday, and I got first place at it with Vanquish. So
Awesome. So, how many people again was it?
I believe there was 7 rounds of Swiss. So in total, there was at least 100, and I say at least around 80 to 100 players for that tournament.
I think that's probably some of the best data we've had for Genesis format so far. So, that's like pretty good. So, yeah, just kind of jumping straight in the gun. Like, why did you choose Vanquish Soul then?
I chose Vanquish Soul because, as you know, in Genesis, most of the good hand traps are all like high point costs or
Yes.
basically unplayable.
Yeah.
Where if you wanted to play the good hand traps, you can't play a good deck, and conversely, if you want to play a good deck, you can't play the good hand traps.
Yep.
So I found that Vanquish Soul was able to do both, where I can play good hand traps and not spend too many points, because realistically, the engine only really needs the 3 Holy Suits and everything else is replaceable. So
Yeah.
at 30 points, having a deck that literally just won Worlds is really, really strong, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially when you've got limited cards that are just free, which looking at it now seems kind of wild. Yeah, you've literally just got that. It's kind of nuts. And then I take it you felt like the K9 package just got too expensive then?
Yes, in order to play the K9 package, I believe Joko is 13 points, Noroi is 10 points, just and Ripper is like 20. So just from that, you would basically not have any hand traps if you played the K9 package.
Yeah, which is kind of nuts. So yeah, and how did you find the consistency? Did you find it okay?
If you notice my Dark Fire Earth ratio, it is 11 Darks, 11 Fires, and 5 Earth. Earth is the not important one, so I
Yeah,
wouldn't worry too much about that one. It only comes up after Holy Suit set up, so by that point you have your Earths, and Mad Love's bonus effect is just a bonus effect.
yeah.
I also played the Extravagances in Small Worlds, so mathematically this deck has a very low chance to brick,
Okay,
but
okay.
it is still VS, so it might happen, like maybe through one interruption, but I built it to be as not bricky as possible.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That yeah, that's fair enough. So maximize consistency on a deck that's already very very strong. How
Yeah.
did you did you ever draw a hand of just five kaiju's? I have to ask.
I have not, but I have drawn a lot of Burger Caesar hands going second, and I'm just like, well, I'm cooked, and then I draw one card and then it locks the whole hand. So sometimes it works out,
Yes.
but yes, this deck does brick. Like that's just one of the trade-offs of Vanquish Soul. I'd say the only real weakness of Vanquish Soul is that it does have like those really unplayable brick hands where you draw Jiaolong Burger and no
Yeah.
starter, or like you have one starter and it gets ashed and then you can't play anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. Did you find you missed the rock at all?
Absolutely. Without Rock, Raisin plus Dark is no longer a combo. Dark plus Dark is no longer a combo. There's a lot of combos that don't work without Rock, but
Yeah.
it's a compromise you have to make to play one of the best decks in the TCG prior to its hit.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then talk us through the hatchup lineup then. Why did you choose this one? These specific ones?
So Vanquish still needs to play a critical mass of Darks and Fires in order to function properly, especially going second, as Holy Suit requires a Vanquish Soul name and the proper attributes. So you can't compromise by playing Ghost Ogre, Veiler,
Yeah.
like these cheaper hand traps that still have impact. You have to play with Ash Blossom. So I put in 45 points for Ash Blossom. Personally, I think it is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
And because I main deck a lot of kaijus, because the week before I was playing a lot of like these tower decks where they made like the Doomsday deck with the rank 8, like I found that really hard
Yes.
to out.
Okay.
So I or like the Magnificent Storm deck where it made a lot of boss monsters, or even like some sort of synchro turbo like Six Samurai. Like
Yeah.
kaijus are just always good in this format. Like minus like maybe against Tomb Keeper, but even Tomb Keeper makes the rank 6 with the fusion plus the circuit, right? They make
Right. Okay.
Lars or whatever rank 6 they want. So like
Yeah.
your kaiju always gets value, and it's something that you can just use to reveal and then just use it off later when you have a critical mass of attributes. Whereas the other dark monster like Skullmeister, like sometimes that card doesn't do anything in the matchup. Like for example against Vanquish Soul, it does absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Or by Rescue Ace Impulse particularly. I know a lot of people like Impulse in this deck, but when you draw Fire Attacker and no Dark, you're just like, this card is awful. I don't want to ever play this. Or like
Yes.
when it doesn't matter, like sometimes Impulse just doesn't have impact in the matchup. not all decks like activate a monster effect that immediately adds.
Yeah, yeah,
So I cut Fire Attacker for that reason. I just don't think it's a very good card.
that's fair enough.
And played the Kaijus instead as the fires and dark replacements. Because if you look at the database, there aren't that many good fire and dark monsters that don't
Yeah.
cost points.
Yeah, I mean, people always kind of say like dark and light, well, dark probably more is always like been the best like attribute. Well, maybe since Fiendsmith and Bestial came out, it's a bit different, but darks have always been notoriously very good. So it makes sense that like they're crazy expensive. Um, yeah, that's very interesting.
2 points I actually want to talk about here. There's two other alternatives that I discovered. Right, first is Shifter. I used to play Shifter in this deck. Then I realized
Yes.
most of the good Genesis deck don't care about Shifter. Like Tombkeeper doesn't care about it, VS doesn't care about it,
Yep.
Radiant doesn't care about it. Like Shifter is really low impact against most of the Genesis meta.
Yeah.
And secondly, there's a package where you could play Dodo Dodo Warrior and
Yeah.
send Kage to Kage, which is a dark, which is nice. You can make the rank for King Dempsey in order to search Rosin. Now the problem is that if you play that, you have to compromise Extravagance. So and it also
Yeah.
plays in the draw. So like there are trade-offs for that.
Yeah. That makes sense. I guess you kind of already play in the draw, so it's like hard losing to it a fair bit more. To be fair.
This deck doesn't play in the draw if you have Holy Sue in your hand as your first search.
Oh
That's how you
really?
play around draw in this deck. Yes. Because
Oh okay.
realistically, like you don't need like your setup is really basic, right? It's like set up Holy Sue of attributes, set up trap, and then you're done.
Okay.
If you can
Oh,
get to the Holy Sue part, you're just missing out on the trap, and you can probably live with that, especially if you have proper attributes. So really, draw like it only stops a deck if the Mad Love is the starter. Hence why you need to play cards like Extravagance over stuff like King Dempsey to access your engine.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess generating hand advantage as well is never a bad thing. Um,
Exactly right.
yeah,
Like say
and
Extravagance is probably like one of the strongest cards in Genesis right now.
it feels really solid. I do agree with this, especially like a lot of decks, extra decks feel quite cut off or like unnecessary. Like I feel like even messing around with decks like Eldritch at the moment, which is kind of like one which just kind of feels not as seen. Like doesn't need the extra deck at all. And I mean, if you're not playing the K9 package in this, like really, like you can sacrifice so much, like you have like with Extravagance here. Um,
Exactly right. Without link monsters, like you can just play three of each of your like important extra deck
yeah,
monsters. Like even Art Mage, they can just play three of each of the fusions and
yeah.
they can play Extravagance. Like every deck can play Extravagance in this format.
It's just, yeah, I don't know how long some of these cards are gonna sit quite
Probably
free.
not long.
We'll see. Even like Pot of Duality, to be fair, I feel like even that, like that's free. Maybe it could do with a couple of points.
Yeah, if your deck is like a back row deck, I could see Duality being very useful as well.
Yeah, especially being able to play both of them. It's like this is only draw lock, isn't it? Yeah, you can't draw. So yeah, like it's pretty good. And then when it comes to your side deck, then as well, like well, one giant C in the room. You play both Retaliate and Flying. What was the reasoning behind that?
So Retaliating C is really good against Draco Tail specifically. Right, Draco Tail is still playable.
Yeah.
You don't have to sacrifice all your points to have that deck functional. So I wanted something to respect it.
Okay.
In hindsight, maybe Xyz Encore might have been better because a lot of people didn't know about the generator deck that plays VFD, and
Yeah.
VFD is a scary card. You don't want to lose to a coin flip to VFD.
Yeah.
So maybe I would also replace my Retaliating C with XYZ Encore, just like the Anaheim list that won the event.
Yes. Yes, because we spoke about that a little bit. Because the differences from that was he was playing the fire package, the impulse package, and then also had XYZ Encore on the side. So would that be your change with the XYZ Encore then mainly?
The thing is, if they know you are on Impulse Generator, don't have to play into it. They have starters
Yes.
that don't play into it, like with the level 4, I forgot the name. It's like Freya or something. Let me
Oh,
check
I
this real
wouldn't know to
quick.
be honest. Generator's not one that I didn't expect it. I haven't had a chance to check it.
Yep. The level 4, yeah. Lopter, he doesn't like you don't have to summon Mardell. Like that can combo without searching sometimes, so it's risky to use Impulse. Also, they have ways to remove it as well.
Yes, that's
Like
fair.
they have ways to remove the fire attacker before adding, so like
Which
it's not
is
reliable. Like I
yeah.
still think Impulse is like just it's bait. It's fire. I get it. It's like wow, it lets me combo, but no, I think it's bait. Okay, now Flying Sea, absolutely phenomenal card.
Yep.
The XYZ decks. except for maybe Doomsday and Vanquish will be considered to be a XYZ deck, but realistically, Vanquish will never exceed summons.
Yeah.
Discard FDK's Pearly.
Yes.
Discard FDK's. What are Xyz decks? Are there? Ryzeo. Well, not Ryzeo. No, absolutely not Ryzeo. But FDK's definitely just Doomsday. Not Doomsday. Pearly. Pearly is a really good deck.
Yes.
And
Pearly
like
scares me.
realistically, without Link summons, like Flying Sea is just a nuisance for all Xyz decks. I can't think of any on top of my head, but most Xyz decks don't have a natural out to Flying Sea, so it's
Yeah.
nice to have.
Yeah.
The third Kaiju because I think Kaijus are just phenomenal this format.
Yep. I mean,
Cosmic
fire.
Cyclone. Yeah, one of the weaknesses I say of this deck is that it's not very good against like the side deck specifically. It's not good against back row decks going second, right?
Okay.
Because they hit Lightning Storm, they hate Duster.
Yeah.
So you can only play stuff like Twin Twisters and Cosmic. Like in the meantime, like the Lord of the Heavenly Prison is free, so like Twin
Yeah.
Twisters and MST are kind of out of the question.
You have
So
got what's the one that it returns all set cards? It's like
oh,
the
hey Trunade, yeah.
yes, that
So
is an option, I
yeah, maybe
suppose.
I would definitely look into that. The problem with VS is that it has the Earth Fire Dark ratio problem. You can't play
Yeah.
too many spells and traps because then you compromise your ratios.
Yeah.
So if I was playing another deck like in Genesis, let's just say like maybe like what's that called, Art Mage, then I would
Yes.
play
Yeah.
stuff like Hey Trunade because I think Hey Trunade is a pretty good card
Yeah.
because there's not a lot of back row respect in this format.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I.
And then Scolding,
Yes.
it's just the going for a solemn. So sometimes when I have Scolding and the trap, I just pre-fire the trap, right? It's like it's more valuable to have the Omni Negate when you already have like your Raisin Interruption, your Holy Sue Interruption, your Mad Love Interruption, your Caesar, and whatever hand trap you drew because you draw 2 off a burger, right?
Yeah.
So you just shotgun this. You don't need the pop. You just get some 1800 damage, some destruction protection in case they have like a dark hole or whatever,
Yeah.
and then Scolding is live for those counter cards like Book of Eclipse.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Or sometimes you don't even set Snow Devil if you know they're on Book of Eclipse because you actually they can activate it first. So you probably want to respect this. So Scolding is just a way to respect like those breakers that inherently counter Vanquish Soul. Skullmeister, I played it for tournament, but then afterwards I realized why don't I just play 2 Book of Eclipse or like 2 Ghost Ogre? So I actually made that swap where I don't play Typhon anymore. So
Okay.
spoiler, the Typhon, and I just switched to Book of Eclipse or Ogre as
Okay.
the alternative options. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. What do you reckon? Was there a lot of situations where you think Ogre would have been very impactful?
Not for this tournament, but I think it would come up a lot versus Tombkeeper. Like I said, right, I want a deck that respects Tombkeeper a bit more.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
Ogre is not like it's not like it's not an FDK against Tombkeeper because they still get to search or set the level 4 Apophis,
Yeah.
but it does like stop the extra search into man, which is stopping some of their board,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
valuable, I'd say.
Yeah, I feel like in this kind of format, just being able to check the board a little bit and then starting to be able to like deconstruct it is massive. Like getting a check in against your opponent, I feel like is really big, and especially in a format where I know a lot of the decks seem a little bit squishy. I feel like they're like could be very easily like knocked back, but I think a lot of people are trying to play the pet decks at the moment as well.
Yeah,
But
another thing I want to note about Genesis is that like there is no quote unquote meta. It's just
yeah,
viable decks. It's really just whatever you want to play, and this is why it's so much better than the TCG, right? The TCG has a much larger card pool, so it's much more meta defined. But in Genesis, it's really unexplored, and every deck has strengths and weaknesses. There is no like best deck, so
yeah,
that's why Genesis looking forward. Like you can really just experiment with the decks that you personally like. Well, unless they have links or pens, then I'm sorry, but
yeah,
yeah, like it's a really fun format. Like you should give it a try. Try like the decks that you like, and just build your decks. Not just for going first. Don't play stuff like
yeah.
BFD or Rivalry or Mystic Mind, being like, haha, I got the funny floodgate card. Like really think about how you can go first and second. Like have a true game of Yu-Gi-Oh. Don't just rely on die rolls.
Yeah, 100%. Like for myself as well, I've especially on this channel, I have talked about not Runic, Naturia so much, and being able to play Sacred Tree at 3 is like was one of the happiest days of my life again. Um, so
Absolutely. So the runic spells are pretty interesting because they still work, right? But you just can't summon them. So they're like
yeah,
half effective, but they are still really strong spells.
Especially with Radiant, I feel like a deck like Radiant can do well with it. I think Runic Radiant did get top 4 at Anaheim, didn't it, with the Genesis tournament, I believe?
I I think so. I know VS won, and then top 4 was a generator. I'm not sure about
Yes,
the other two, but there might have been a Runic in top 4. Yes.
which was very interesting. So it's nice to see that even without having like Hugin and stuff, it's still viable, which I think is pretty cool. To like, it's like a new way to play decks like that. So I think that's
Absolutely.
pretty smart. And then, were there any other
Yep.
choices you thought about, like point wise? Because obviously, well, that's a big
Yeah, there's
chunk of
actually
points.
something I want to talk about for Solemn Scolding.
Yes, go ahead.
So I didn't know about this for the time of the tournament, but there's actually a really nice, funny thing you could do is just play Draco Tail Flame as a spell negate, and it's
Huh.
free. So like, it's like Scolding but free. Like you don't have to pay life points. There's no restriction on it, and realistically, right, most of the time you're using Solemn Judgment on your spells, right, like stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Droplet and whatever. So why not just play Draco Tail Flame?
That's
Like
really
Ash and
yeah.
Bell both cost resources, so I'm gonna try that in the future where I replace Scolding with Draco Tail Flame. See how
That's
that
really
goes.
funny because also then you can also still keep the Snow Devil alive as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
It's just yeah, I got baited into Scolding. It's still a good card, don't get me wrong, but like sometimes it conflicts with Snow Devil and it makes you feel kind of bad to just shotgun it. But still,
yeah,
Solemn Judgment is a good card. It's like a
no,
turbocharged Solemn Judgment.
it's very interesting. It's really weird. Like you kind of get like put in these like I'd say awkward, but it's also awkwardly fun if that makes sense. Like you're trying to find something that really just fits a spot, and you're like trying to hunt for cards that like um they're like really niche. Like Swords of Concealing Light was like something I think it's Swords of Concealing Light. That's something I pulled out my binder and I was like, oh, this is weirdly actually kind of okay. Yeah, like
Yeah,
this.
exactly. It's like Book of Eclipse, but not quick play, and you have to
Yeah,
cost 5 more points. Yeah,
and it's kind of
it's good.
wild to me. And like also cards like, do you remember the Herald card that dealt with Pearly back in the day? I can't remember what it was.
Oh, what's it called? Abyss Designator? Yeah.
That thing. So like, I feel like that,
Mhm.
like especially into like the likes of Lunalight and Pearly, like these sort of ones being free. It's
Yep.
really cool to like find like these choices and stuff. Like
Yep. Just word of advice: I highly do not recommend playing Lunalight. For this format, kaiju's are very popular.
yes,
That's like one
I've
of the
noticed
freest things
that.
for kaiju's.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like I was tempted to play like a towers deck and be like, nah, no one will out it, but everybody's really putting respect on towers, and
Well,
I
it's not so respect, but more so there's no other free options that like
yeah
are valuable. So
yeah
like people just default to kaiju's. So just be wary of that.
yeah. When in doubt, I think people get reminded kaijus exist when they scroll through the Genesis points list and see that slumbers like points. Everybody gets reminded of that as well. So I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
that's
true.
um. But yeah, and then I guess it's not as much to talk about with your extra deck. It's just kind of like, as you said, you probably don't make too much of it anyway. Especially seeing as like what you've not got as much access to your fives. Did you find much of this popped up at all?
Not really. This is just like, oh, I have an extra level 5 and a level 5 after stake or so. Okay, I'll just make a rank 5. This is just the standard like VSK9 extra deck, like options minus Ripper because Ripper's not free.
Yeah, that's fair. So, and then you really didn't find Typhon came up too much for you either.
It didn't come up one time, so it was
Oh,
just
that's
there
not.
because I had 10 points left over.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I would swap that out for like a 5 point breaker or a hand trap for the side deck for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. And then, so you said 7 rounds, wasn't it? So like, what were your matchups?
Yep. First matchup was against I think it was Exo Sister. Yeah, so a deck that gets FTK by a kaiju. Love to see it.
Yep, yep, kind of nice.
Second one was against. It was against Branded Runic. Now, the
Ooh,
problem with playing Branded in this format is that Lubellion, Branded Fusion, and Mirror Jade combined cost all your points.
yeah,
So
that's
his deck
problematic.
was a little lacking on the end board, so he just ended a Masquerade, which, kaiju away, off we go.
Yeah, well, literally just Masquerade. That was it.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind that DD Crow is free, right? So decks that
Yes.
like require a very important graveyard interaction, like Branded, get countered pretty hard because of
Yeah.
DD Crow.
It is interesting. I don't think I've like even on like the Genesis ladder. I don't think I've seen a single person not playing DD Crow. It's
Yeah.
so popular. It really is like the strongest card
It's
almost.
the only. It's the best free hand trap. It literally is.
100%. But sorry, yes, continue.
And then games 3, I played against Draco Tail, and this was the one time Retaliating Sea came up. So like I'm a little hesitant at cutting it, but it's just odd circumstance that it came up. In game
Yeah.
2, I Retaliating Sea'd them, and they couldn't play afterwards, so that was
I mean,
pretty nice.
yeah, if it wins you the game, it's pretty good.
Yep. Game 4 was against. Let's see. I think it was Magnificent Storm, right? So their cards don't really do that much, and it was okay. Yeah. You just have to chain block like the trap. Yeah, that's the important one.
Yeah, it's kind of just like they generate I never understood what the bodies do. Like they generate like quite a few bodies, and then it's just kind of like what a
Yeah.
shuffle two,
So
isn't it?
yeah, I can explain it. So they have. So first of all, a lot of them play the Wind Witch engine, right? Ice Spell, remember back
Yes.
then from 2017. They just search Glass Spell and summon Glass Spell, then search the ball, Synchro 7, Synchro 8, the Crystal Wing. It's like a free Crystal Wing, no points. So Ice
Yeah.
Spell is definitely a decent safe staple, I'd say, but like extra deck locks you, so it's not for every deck.
Yeah.
Um, so for the Radiant Typhoons themselves, they have a level 3 that adds a monster. So all of them have this shared effect, the little guys, where if your opponent has no spells or traps and they have MST engraved, they can just summon for free, kind of like a sprite.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of them adds a monster, one of them adds a Radiant spell or trap, and then the third one, if you activate a quick play, they can summon any of the Radiant Typhoons from the deck,
Yes.
and that locks you into wins. That's why a lot of them don't play anything else but wins. In the extra deck,
Yeah, that makes sense.
there's a level 6 where if you activate a quick play spell, it's able to summon itself, and then its more important effect is that it adds any Radiant Typhoon card and the trap. And then they have 2 or 3 flavors of boss monsters. There's one, and how their boss monster works is that they revive themselves from the grave when a quick play is activated. And then one of them has a bonus effect where if you activate a quick play, you can bounce 2, spin 2 rather, go back to the deck.
Yeah, which is
Another
pretty
one is
good.
like a monster negate, and I forgot what the third one did. And then their back row is really simple. One is a quick play Rhoda, one is a quick play Foolish, and the third one is a quick play draw 2, pitch 1.
And importantly, MST negates as well.
Yeah, and their trap mandate, it's 2 effects. So one of them is shuffle back 3 quick plays, including a Radiant, and then draw a card, and other monsters gain 300. And then the second one is that when you activate MST, you can chain it in order to negate something kind of like Desiree, right? So that's
Yes.
the
Yeah.
important one. Every time they activate a quick play, VS, they have a lot of quick effects. You just chain block. It's similar to how you play against Lab in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So that was round 3, you said.
Yeah. If you're wondering why I know these cards so well, I really did study that deck.
Well, I mean,
I
you
was
won
worried
the
about this
event,
one
so
particularly.
yeah, you won the event, so it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, and then next round was Pearly. That was against the person that got third place at Worlds actually.
Whoa,
So now
really?
they played that deck phenomenally. The only problem is that when you have
So many kaijus.
8 counter cards in your main deck and 4 more in your side deck, that matchup is very hard to play, right? I had Thrall,
Yeah.
which kills Pearly. I had Crow, which really hurts Pearly. Kaiju's, which really hurt Pearly.
Yes.
And then the side deck I have Flying Sea, which they have no out to. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
matchup was just extremely free.
Yeah, that's kind of
And then in
nuts.
the finals, it was Radiant Typhoon again. So I guess my studying paid off.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
sorry. No. In the finals, it was against Tombkeeper. Yeah. And
Okay.
then this was a pretty interesting finals because I only won game 2 because like some crucial misplays where I summoned rocks and then they chained their Apophis, like the negate, to the
Okay.
rocks, even though all their cards couldn't be destroyed. So they fell for the bait and they let me like burn them for game.
That's wild. That's
Yeah,
okay.
that was probably the scariest matchup because, like I said, like minus the 3 cosmics, there's not much respect for Tombkeeper, and they won die roll too. I didn't win in like many die rolls this tournament. I don't know why, but yeah, Tombkeeper. Like I got lucky that they made a small lapse in judgment, or in game 1 they bricked. In game 1 they drew the level 6 trap and like super poly and cosmic. Cosmic doesn't really hurt Vanquish Soul if Brazen is your starter,
Yeah.
and yeah, in the game 2, yeah, they did the crucial misplay, so I got lucky that I won that matchup because it's difficult to win against Tombkeeper, especially when they go first.
Yeah. Two keepers. It's popped off since that latest since that YCS it won, and then also has picked up a lot of steam on Genesis. I've noticed, so it's nice to see that deck kind of get its moment in the sunlight, and hopefully it doesn't get murdered at the end of this month. But we will see.
It's pretty high up on the list, and I was considering that deck a lot too. But then I just don't like that it can't go second. It heavily relies on non-engine to go second, and that's not. I don't like decks that rely on non-engine to go second.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, like a deck that can like grind alongside the going second cards is handy. Like yeah, like Mitsurugi, I feel like that's a big part of why it does so well. Like just being able to blow up a board.
Yeah, it's like Mr. G and like Raizio, these engines are both like good going second.
Yeah.
Like, in Yu-Gi-Oh, you want a deck that's good going first and second, because
Yeah.
you know you can't just pray that you win every die roll.
Yeah, unless you're just built different and you win every single round.
Yep.
But yeah, and then I think you've gone over anything. Anything you think we've missed at all?
No, I think that VS is just a very solid deck.
Yeah.
I guess it's Konami's way of apologizing for hitting Rosin to 1, because that really pissed me off in the TCG.
Yeah.
And just saying, like, after Rosin went to 1, we saw what happened in Anaheim. You know, we had FDK, Molnir FDK, we had Yami Mitsurugi FDK, we had D Barrier Pass. Like, I don't know, there might be some correlation there.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like they print all these like turn 0 decks, and it feels like this format's going to go in this very interesting way, and then all of a sudden, nah, it's yeah, it felt
yeah. No,
weird.
like what I'm saying is that because VS K9 got hit, like a lot of these decks became uninteractive, like FTK decks.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Like,
yeah.
I think it was very interesting. Like, there's a lot of like decks, like especially top 64 Lil. I think there was quite a few Mjolnir locks as well, and like I don't know.
Yes, that card's gonna be a problem in TCG.
Which is really something I didn't expect. But like you said, because of the fact that this deck was like checked so hard, like it makes some things relevant.
Little story actually. Yes.
Oh,
so,
hit me.
Yeah, at YCS Vancouver, I played Monir Lock, and guess what happened?
Oh, what?
I got Izuna, and then I got I got Holy Suit, so I couldn't Monir Lock. So, you know, maybe BSK9 was the hero that we needed for the format.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't tier 0 either. Like, I mean, there was other decks.
I think BSK9, like, it was a fine deck. I'm not being biased. Like, I just think it's a fine deck. Like, sure they can like get lucky, but like, yeah, the only problem is like BSK9 is that if they open a God hand, you can't win. Like, if they open the Holy Suit custom hand, you just can't win.
Yeah.
That's just the annoying thing.
But sometimes you just draw like a god. Well, but then if someone just opens, it feels like if you open the god hand, it feels better losing to that.
That's true, right? Like, say that they open like Draw and Lockberg against Rise, or Lance against Malice. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. So at least it feels slightly nicer, you know. You like, or like a D barrier is the worst. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for coming on. Is there any shout outs you want to do at all?
Yeah, I want to shout out my team, Team Revolution. We do some testing from time to time, mainly TCG, but I'm trying to bring them over to Genesis to give me a lot of ideas, and you know, help each other out when we can.
Awesome. And then yeah, thank you very much for coming on. It was very insightful. It's fun to pick brains with Genesis. It's just such a fun format. Like you said, it's just it's really entertaining, and it's really open at the moment. So it's nice to see. And also, you know, VS gets its time to shine a little bit more, which it deserves. So, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, and just one small point before we leave.
Go ahead.
Just remember, all floodgates are worth 100 points in Genesis. So if you don't want to deal with floodgate turbos, come to Genesis.
100%.
Pretty cool pricing.
Yeah, 100%.